Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the second episode of Future Hacker. I'm talking to Anastasia Soloveva. So the first episode, we covered a lot about, women in finance, which is a super important topic. And then we got into the NFTs, the super trendy non-fungible tokens. Anastasia already gave us a background of, the basics of NFTs. And now we are getting a little deeper into that. So Anastasia, thanks for still being here with us. Let's say that I'm in arts and I'm trying to make some money. Like I'm trying to find those alternative sources of income. What do I have to do to join this party? And a question following that, do you think that NFT will be an incentive for a newer generation of digital artists for monetizing their art through the power of social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I think for you being an artist, it's a great way to sell your work and to turn your work, whatever you create, into NFT, because you basically have a direct control of what's going to happen with your asset, right? Because you can gain control and see who buys it, who sells it, how much it costs, and you can add their royalties and basically help your asset to get the value. And in general, it is not super complicated, in my opinion, at this point, but some people disagree, and we can talk about this a bit later as well. But in general, anybody can create an NFT and put it on sale on one of the websites. And here it is how it basically works. All NFTs, they are related to cryptocurrencies. So before to buy or sell, you need to create your digital wallet and buy some cryptocurrency. As a creator, you would need cryptocurrency as well, because you would need to cover the cost of creating your listing. And then you go to one of the NFT marketplaces and you place your item there, just like you do it on eBay. And you connect your wallet in the marketplace and upload your digital file, provide some details about the file, describe what kind of asset it is there. It's original, it's a copy, or what is it exactly? And then you decide if you want to build in royalties for this asset and basically list the item and wait for it to sell or to gain some traction. NFT is a hot thing right now, and everyone is talking about NFT, and we are talking to our customers about NFT, just like we talk about the Bitcoin as well all the time. It is a hot topic, but remember one thing: placing their NFT doesn't necessarily mean that somebody would want to buy this NFT. It's like over-the-counter product at this moment, and if there is no demand, well, probably the NFT would not gain so much popularity.
So makes completely sense what you said. So it pretty much depends, it's supply and demand, like any market. But, if I want to do this myself, I either need to be somehow tech savvy, I guess, because, you kind of have to have some knowledge of cryptocurrency, or you have a manager doing that for you, like a financial manager, or is there already an NFT manager out there, maybe a professional of the future?
I haven't heard about any, but that's a good idea actually to add something like that to our portfolio. Yeah, thank you. No, you know what? I think in general, today it is super important to be tech savvy. I myself is sometimes lagging on that, even though I think I'm quite good, but still sometimes it took me some time when we just started to create our first payment system. That's also what I have in my portfolio. We were building with my previous team, the payment system, and we learned about tokens in general. ICO was hot at that moment, it was 3 years ago. ICO was hot, and we learned about the tokens, and everybody who understands tokens right now, it's very easy for them to understand how NFT work. For the rest of the world, maybe not that easy, but it's okay. People will spend time on this, information will get clearer, and it will be much easier. In fact, I don't think that anybody would need these days to have high level of tech experience to basically place the NFT. To create the NFT, maybe, depends what kind of NFT you're creating. But to place it, not really. You have to open digital wallet, it's not that hard. You have to basically link it to the marketplace, also not very hard, in my opinion. But I think to create NFT depends. But you were asking me as well about the future use. of the NFT. And in fact, many experts believe that in the future, we could use NFTs for almost anything, from event tickets, let's say, to passports or different kind of IDs. And here I want to talk about the ID which everyone is craving right now, is the COVID passport. It's called that way, I guess, right now among governments, and all of us need that. So basically, that could be one of the places when NFT could be used, because it would really make our life so much easier with, like, for example, presenting all the vaccinations you've made or tests you've made without all this mess in the airports of, is this test is the right one or is the wrong one? You could just create the standards for the COVID passport to wrap it up into NFT and to use it among the world, basically, as the hottest idea. But in general, you can build anything on the blockchain, because it's really hard to forge or change the owner without their permission. I think it would be a great way to use in identification of people or items.
And on the investor side, how do you see people reacting to that?
Wow, gosh, that's my headache, because people all the time, whenever they hear something new and hot, they're always overreacting. It's nothing or all in. And that's where people like me, financial advisors, me here is also talking about this very often, is that, guys, whatever you see happening new on the markets, first of all, usually it takes time to settle this down, to understand how it works, to see what will happen if things go wrong, and they always go wrong, right? So it always takes time. But people they want to catch this hot thing, just like with Clubhouse. Do you hear about Clubhouse these days? I haven't heard about Clubhouse for last month at least.
Yeah, it was a hot thing, and then it's just it's
2 months or 3 months ago, Clubhouse was people were fighting to get access there. It was whatever. I'll see how it will go in a couple of months, and look at this now. Nobody talks about it anymore. So same thing with NFT. Right now it's super hot. Right now people are trying to understand where they can apply this NFT. But in general, I think it could be really amazing way to implement into any investment portfolios non-traditional assets. You guys know, right, that there are traditional assets like bonds, stocks, gold, and so on. You can buy it, and that's part of the investment portfolio, which is called traditional or core assets. And you have alternative assets. Alternative assets usually real estate, different commodities, it's investments into the companies, and NFT, investment in art as well, is a part of the non-traditional portfolio. And NFT could be part of it. Because what happens right now, when you describe any kind of investment portfolio or net worth of the person, you're taking a look at their core assets and you're taking a look at their non-core assets or non-traditional assets. I remember, Maria, we discussed with you this once. I remember I had once a customer who was an art collector, and most of his assets were in investments into different art objects. And I told him, so how would you value your art collection? And he would say, well, that varies from this amount of millions to this amount of millions. I was like, but that's a big difference in between. He's like, yeah, but that's how the art market works. So basically, implementing NFT will probably give us an understanding on how each and every asset can be valued. And it can also trace, and that's a very important for banking area thing, is actually to understand the authenticity of the object. And it also can give us proper understanding of the former ownership. Because very often art objects are related to the black market or to some shadow deals. And very often you don't understand if the Picasso painting actually should cost $22 million or not, So understanding that and building a bit more structure into that world would really give us a better understanding of how it all works. Another thing I wanted to bring up here as well about the artists, and imagine how such creators like Vincent van Gogh would live if he would paint his famous pieces and if he would have the ownership of them. We all know that he sold his most famous pieces almost for nothing, and he always lived his entire life in poverty. So would he own the knowledge of, how popular he is, for example, among aristocracy, and how much his artwork are wanted? most probably he would not sell to middleman his art for coins, and he would benefit from his genius.
So do you think that somehow NFT will be able to be used for the physical world as well? Like, who knows how, right? So that's your rationale when you compare it to the physical arts as well.
Yeah, that is how exactly. Basically, creators, artists would be able to add digital part on that and trade and have the control over them. That's one part. Another part I was thinking about, I have another customers and friends as well. They transport different art objects. That is very expensive. Like to transport one big famous painting, let's say, with all the security, with all the measures you have to take, and we all know how sensitive those paintings, let's say, to water, to light, to the air, and so on. It's very expensive to transfer them. What if you don't have to? What if you can keep, like those paintings are in the vault and just transfer the ownership of that via the digital asset, via the NFT, and the painting itself would be stored somewhere in a nice place, secured in the right conditions, and the ownership would change via the Sotheby's or however they prefer to do it. By the way, I don't think necessarily interesting to see what Sotheby's are doing right now with NFTs. Are they participating or not? Because if I would be them, I would definitely want to participate in that.
You know what? And it makes a lot of sense, because it's not that when you purchase a piece for millions and millions, it's not that you're just hanging on your wall, right?
That is another important thing actually I wanted to discuss as well. Every investment, every time you spend money, it has emotional aspect or it has investment aspect. When you invest into property, right, you buy a house for the family to live there, to enjoy the view, to be close to your family or work and so on. That's where you live. That's emotional aspect. And how you value that house is different from how you value another property which you buy to rent out. That one has to be functionable, have to be in the right market position and so on. And you buy to rent out and not to have any emotional attachment. Same with investments into anything else, into art, into different pieces. If you want to buy this painting, and to have it on the wall, it's one thing, but it might be exposed to many risks involved with having physically that painting on the wall. What if you can have that painting in the vault, having the ownership on that via the NFT, to print it and to put on your wall? How about that?
This is for sure opening a lot of possibilities for the future, right? So many. And even, I don't know if you are the one to mention or if I heard it somewhere else, you can actually open maybe a famous artist subscription service that you can rotate pieces of art on your digital device, right? Who knows? So you can be changing that.
Yeah, Banksy. Banksy is my most favorite modern artist. And he's not just painting, he's making the art performance. And what he did in Sotheby's, that must have been an NFT. That would have been sold for millions of dollars. It was fantastic NFT performance.
That's awesome. So still thinking about the future, do you think you believe we can have our own NFT? Can we NFT ourselves? And, considering that the essence of NFT is proving ownership and the way we're interconnecting and digitalizing everything, where in the future we're going to be super hackable, for example, thinking about brain expansion, brain uploading, and all those crazy things we've been covering here, as much as it sounds weird, this could be the future way of self-identification, right?
It could. Definitely it could, yes. NFT is all about the bragging rights, right? What do I own in this new modern method? That's basically it.
The bragging rights. I love that. Okay, so let's move the subject to cryptocurrency. And, as you mentioned, to be able to play that game, you still have to be involved in cryptocurrency somehow. So some players, and even a previous guest of ours, which is Dave One. So if you guys haven't heard him, just make sure you do. They sell cryptocurrency in asset funds. And they say it's liquid, it's low cost and secure. And actually, that was a question I did ask him. I'm a super conservative investor myself. And I really never understood how this type of investment could be designated as secure and liquid. So I love to hear your point of view as well.
So I think, first of all, cryptocurrencies as well as NFT should be nothing to fear about. they already became a big part of our financial reality, and we have to embrace it and to see how it actually develops and what kind of rules we have to work with them and so on. So like whoever is like basically cryptocurrency today, so Bitcoin today is a good alternative to gold investments. Cryptocurrencies protect assets from inflation. Unfortunately, cryptocurrencies are influenced by other forces of the markets as well, like tweets of the Elon Musk, for example, that can ruin one cryptocurrency and increase another one, you know. But in general, cryptocurrency, its core is linked to something what has a limited amount of things. Bitcoin has been issued with 21 million satoshis, so it has limited amount, and anything what is limited protects us from inflation. That's why whenever like money you can print, that's why they create inflation basically. So I think cryptocurrency is nothing to be scared about, and they have to be part of the portfolio. One important thing of every investor is diversify your portfolio and not to invest anything, neither in cryptocurrency, neither in gold, neither in stocks. You always have to have well-rounded portfolio depending on your financial goals, depending on your life situation, age as well. You should be considering as well, where are you in your life journey today? Are you 20-year-old investor, or you're going to retire in a few years? That's what all matters. But in general, to have those elements of the portfolio, it's super useful.
That's awesome. You're almost convincing myself. Almost.
Let me help you. Let me help you to do it. to make sure we do it.
Okay, so talking about blockchain in general, the energy spent by miners makes this technology a losing game when we talk about sustainability, which in all podcasts that we cover here is basically a must now, and it's going to be even a stronger demand from the consumers in a very near future. It's just a matter of changing generation. So, I know this is probably outside your field, but are you aware if this is being addressed? Do you see that if there's an evolution on the blockchain side to a more sustainable path, or you have no clue?
Like, your question is how quickly we will move to the sustainability with blockchain and with the cryptocurrencies. And here my answer is again like somebody with a history background. Time is a very different. People have different way to look at the time. If you're asking me if there's going to be some way in 1 year to deliver cryptocurrency in a more sustainable way, the answer is no. I don't think so. If there is a chance for that in 10 years, I think there is a chance. I think it would be much more sustainable. And in fact, it's amazing you're asking this question, because this is exactly the funny part which I see all the time. Our customers, I'm talking right now about females, but I think it's also applicable to male investors of the new generation. All of them have two things in mind: how to invest into interesting hot topics like NFTs, Bitcoins, different interesting stocks, how to invest into cannabis, and so on. At the same time, they're all worried about sustainability. And not many of them can actually link those two things and to say, well, if I do buy Bitcoin, I basically leave my footprint on sustainability. They don't think about that. Not many of them, maybe some do think, but not many of them understand this link. And that you bring this point into attention, it's amazing. And I think those who, let's say, worry about sustainability should think twice if they want to invest into Bitcoin today or not. But at the same time, sustainability and ESG, even traditional assets can be non-ESG friendly. Like Boeing, let's say, is one of the most famous American companies that people think produce only airplanes. In fact, Boeing is the second largest producer in the world of their military equipment. They basically, work with government a lot. They produce different arms and so on. And people don't know this. Is it G investment? No. Is it sustainable stock to have in your portfolio? Well, probably not that much. So sustainability is a big aspect of investments today, and people should look at different assets they invest in from all these angles.
That's awesome. Great. Anastasia, unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our interview, but a lot of great information. Thank you so much for sharing with us. So, if you would like to have a last word for the future hackers out there, especially the female ones that are trying to adventure on finance, please, the word is yours. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for inviting. Yes, my last word is talk about finances. That's where it begins. People underestimate this. People think, to be financially educated, you have to go for hard courses. You have to, finish school, majoring in economics. No, we are dealing with money every day. We are doing financial transactions every day, men, women, everyone. We just need to start talking about it and categorize them and having the conversation with your loved ones, talking about best buys, best financial decisions, worst financial decisions is the first step into financial literacy for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.